Okay, you've been you've been warned. Everybody on their best behavior, including me. I do hope that you'll get something out of the presentation this afternoon. We're going to be talking about content creation in Canvas, basically building your Canvas shell, which many of you are facing the prospect of building a new shell, at least at this point, or maybe your first one. Because of course we know that all classes in the summer will be online, and now we know that the vast majority of classes, or at least the lecture portions of those classes, will be online in the fall as well, throughout the fall semester. The University of California system just announced that today, that they're going to be doing the same thing. And knowing where the UCs were about 10 years ago in the online education threat or menace stage, I didn't ever think I'd live to see that. But here we are, nonetheless. So we got to get ready for it. And one of the first things we've got to do in a fully online class, we've got to have a Canvas shell that contains a lot of our course content, handouts that students need, lecture notes, PowerPoint presentations, and all those materials that they'll normally be handed out to them in class. Access to their textbooks in many cases as well. Access to publishers' resources if you use those. All of that has to be present in that Canvas shell, because that's the only way they're going to be able to access it. There's no paper changing hands for a while. So Canvas is going to be an essential part of any fully online course. That doesn't mean that Zoom won't be. Zoom as a synchronous tool gives a tremendous addition to a traditional online course. I never thought I'd say that. Online courses have been around long enough to be traditional now, in some respects. And typically, online courses are fully asynchronous, where the students go into Canvas, they read their course materials, they view videos, they go and look at things on the web that you've assigned to them, and then they do that all on their own time, whenever it's convenient to them, which of course is one of the great advantages of online education, especially to students with busy schedules. But that the asynchronous nature of online courses evolved, a lot of it evolved simply because there was no good way to handle synchronous interaction without bringing students to campus. But Zoom and other tools have changed all that. So including a synchronous component in your online course is certainly a wonderful idea, or at least, even if you can't get all your students together synchronously, which very likely you won't be able to, because it's almost impossible. Herding cats is simple by comparison, but you can get a number of them together with you synchronously, record that, and make that recording available to all the rest. And it's a tremendous addition to the more common fully asynchronous model. And it's the efficacy of fully classroom-based education versus fully online education versus fully online and asynchronous education versus a blended model where there's some synchronous interaction and the asynchronous course and learning management system as well. The efficacy of those three paradigms has been studied extensively. And in almost every study, what comes out on top is the blended model. where you have some synchronous interaction like we're doing right now, and you also have a robust presence on the learning management system to provide students with the opportunity to access their course materials anytime they like, as often as they like, and conveniently. So, of course, we're demonstrating the synchronous model here by running this session on Zoom. But what we're going to spend most of our time talking about today, of course, is how to build the asynchronous component of an online course, how to develop your course shell in Canvas. I will be sharing my screen most of the day. So let me go ahead and do that. No, I did promise I'd answer one question before I started. And it is, I do have the recording going, so go right ahead. I'm trying to remember who that was. Somebody had a question they wanted to ask right away. Well, when you think of it, go ahead and put it in the chat tool. I will be keeping tabs on that as best I can as we go along. And I will, as always, I will not leave until all the questions that are put into the chat tool are answered. I would like to, during the first hour and a half to 2 hours or so of the presentation, I'd like to keep the questions on topic as much as possible, dealing with the creation of your Canvas course. But
David, it's me.
Yes.
It's Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
On my program in Canvas on the certification, and I was doing one of the discussions that's required, and I don't see a save button, and I lost the entire 6 paragraphs. Is there a save button in the
There's in the lower right-hand corner of the text box, there's a button labeled post reply. And that saves it. It saves it to the discussion forum.
But
and that's at the very bottom.
Finish it.
Pardon?
I need to go back in and finish it.
Unfortunately, if you didn't hit post reply,
I didn't think so. Yeah,
it's gone.
That's what I was afraid.
And if you do post, you can't edit that post. So you have to just post. If you want to add something to it, you just post again, post another reply. But yeah, that post reply button is down at the bottom, and that is the save button, if you will, for that particular
thanks.
situation. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to build your Canvas course. Particularly, we're going to be talking about how to add content to it, your subject matter material, as opposed to assessments like quizzes and homework assignments and graded discussions and so on, since we do other sessions where we go into those in some depth. So we're going to take a deep dive into how you upload and create content on Canvas. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. First thing you'll see is our course outline for today. We've been through these. Oh, and before I forget, like I haven't already, would you mind going to the chat tool? I think everybody's found that by now. And putting your name and your email address in the chat tool, so I'll have a record of who's here. I see a number of you have done that already. Thank you so much. And as usual, we talk a little bit about the help features available in Canvas. You're never without assistance in Canvas. And then we're going to talk about adding content to the Canvas course, both by importing existing content that you might have or might be able to find, and then creating your own content and uploading your own files to Canvas and creating your own modules. And we'll talk about how to do that. We'll take good chunk of the day to look at the rich content editor in Canvas, which allows you to create what are called Canvas pages, which are probably the most common type of content object in Canvas. And then we'll talk a little bit about how to make your course look a little prettier when people first enter it by creating an opening page. Oops, don't need that up. I certainly don't need that up. Come on. There we go. It's helping my son out who lives in London earlier. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up Canvas. Make sure everybody knows how to do that. Canvas, our Canvas system, can be accessed at sdccd.instructure.com. It's linked to our online learning pathways homepage. It's linked to the district homepage, to the websites of all the colleges and continuing ed. But by far the easiest way to get to it is to just type this URL in the address line of your web browser and punch enter, or return, depending on the nature of your keyboard. Let me put that in the chat tool so everybody for sure has that. There we go. And of course, I was already logged in, wasn't I? So let me log out, make sure everybody knows the appearance of the login page. Your username will be your 10-digit PeopleSoft ID, with all the leading zeros if you have them. And then your initial password is set to your 8-digit birth date, month, day, year, and that you're reminded of that here at the bottom of the home page, or at the bottom of the login page for Canvas. So if anybody is having trouble logging into Canvas, please let me know. Make sure that does not outlive this session. And when you punch the login button, you come to your Canvas dashboard. Each of these tiles represents a course in which you're enrolled, either as a teacher or a student. Your shells are automatically provided for, your live shells, the ones that you're going to use for teaching, your live containers, if you will, of information in Canvas, appear about a week before the beginning of the next term. We can't do that earlier because of issues with PeopleSoft, without going into detail there. So it's critical that you are able to start developing your course shells long before that. So we do encourage you to request what are called development shells, shells in which you can create your course, add your content, set up your assessments, set all your due dates, and have everything ready well before a week before the beginning of the term. You can access those, you can acquire those development shells, I should say, by calling the faculty Canvas support hotline. There's the number right there. It's in the chat, or in the help link or help icon in the Canvas global navigation or system menu that's present in all Canvas pages. You can always get to that help button, and right at the top will be the faculty support line. Students have one too, of course, but it's a different number, you'll know. So they have different staffing for each. You just call those folks up and say, I'd like a development shell for English 101, another one for English 205, and so on. And they will make them for you and put you in as the instructor, and those development shells will automatically appear on your dashboard when they're created. So you can just go right in and pick any of those, and jump right into any of those when they become available. again, your live shells, the ones you'll actually use to teach, which will have your students enrolled in them, appear about a week before the beginning of the term, I should say. And at that point in time, you can copy the content that you have created in your development shell into your live shell, and in a very simple process. And you can then immediately publish that shell and begin using it. Indeed, now you have the capability to open your course shells early, if you wish, before the first day of the term. And you have the capability to keep them open later, if it fits your needs. Our new dean finally made that possible. I really don't know what he did to whom to make that happen, but more power to him. It's something we've wanted for years. So we've got then you then are ready to go. What we're going to talk about today is how to build that shell. But before we do, it's probably worth having a rough idea of what an online course looks like. I know many of you have taught online before, and are just brushing up on Canvas, or have are in the process of taking the online faculty certification program. So you've seen what a good online course looks like already, but there may be some folks who have not seen that sort of thing. So I want to make sure we all start off with an idea of what we're working toward here. And I have a little sample course here that I'll use to illustrate that. I just click on the tile for that course to go into it. And I'm dropped, as is the default with Canvas, into what is called the modules area, or the modules tool in Canvas. And this is the heart of any Canvas course. Your content in Canvas is presented inside structures called modules. For instance, this is a module here. You can see it's separated by white space from the next list of links here and so on. So this first collection of links is a module. And by design, the links to content and to activities that you see inside a module are all related to one another in some way. The module is basically just a collection of links to content that is related in some way. And what you see here is not an uncommon organization for a course. The first module is often an introductory or a welcome or a getting started module, where you provide students access to the types of information that you'd normally cover on the first day of class. Things like your syllabus, your personal information, as much as you intend to share with them, some welcome materials, maybe in this case, a discussion forum where they can ask questions about what's coming up in the course, and maybe a little quiz on the syllabus and to ensure that they read it, or at least give them some motivation to read it. Ensuring is a little bit beyond our capability, I'm afraid. So all of these links are related by the fact that they're things that the students need before they actually start engaging with your subject matter in the course. And indeed, an introductory module might have a lot more than this in it. It might have a schedule of classes. You might include a list of all the activities the students are going to be carrying out in the course, and explanatory material about how to do things like submit your assignments, or what to expect in the course, what course objectives, all of that stuff could end up here. Anything that they need to know before they start engaging with your subject. That, of course, is not required. You decide how your modules are created, or how they're designed, but that's a typical organization. Then we'll follow often a series of subject modules, or content modules, which contain your course instructional materials. Often these modules are organized by weeks. You might have a week 1 module, a week 2 module, a week 3 module, and you'd put links to all the content that you would normally cover in week 1 in the first module, and then so on thereafter. Or they might be subdivided by chapters in the book. You might have a chapter 1 module, a chapter 2 module, etc. Or as I've done here, a topic 1, topic 2, topic 3 module where you're covering different topics. That's how the online faculty certification program course is organized. Just whatever fits your logical subdivision of the material that you're presenting to your students. How do you organize your course in your own mind? Your modules would hopefully reflect that. The modules contain links to content in the form of files, Canvas pages, or web links to external content stored out somewhere outside Canvas. They also contain links to assessments like quizzes. Sorry, quizzes there. I'll point to the right thing in a minute. Homework assignments, like this one, or graded discussions, graded class discussions like this one. Those are your 3 types of assessments that you have in Canvas. And the links to those would also be in the modules. And they'd be in the module appropriate to the context. That is, you'd put your homework assignment on for your first week or your first chapter or whatever. You put those assignments in the module for the first week or the first chapter. Seems straightforward when you talk about it, but it doesn't always happen. It's just organically. So it is something that we like to stress as a desirable form of course organization. It's called modular course design, and it is the gold standard for online course design because it makes it very simple for the students to navigate your course. If you have everything in modules, and the modules are ordered in the order you would normally present your material, and each module contains links to everything that the students need to access for that module or that portion of your course, links to lecture notes, to PowerPoint presentations, to instructional videos, to exam review materials, to reading assignments in the textbook. All of that would go into the module, so that the student basically never, or very rarely, has to leave the modules in order to complete the course. Effectively, if the course is designed as modular course design would suggest, a student can start at the top of the first module and just keep working down the other modules in order until they get to the end of the last module. And when they do, they're done. And they never have to wonder about, well, first off, they don't have to wonder where to start. And then once they get started, they never have to wonder where to go next, what to do next. It's always laid out for them in a simple linear progression. This makes them very comfortable that they're not missing something, that they're doing what you intend them to do in the order you intend them to do it. And it vastly increases some of the angst that particularly students new to online courses, and there will be a ton of them in the fall, feel naturally when they enter an online course for the first time. You don't want to confuse them. There's going to be enough confusion anyway that you can't prevent, but you can definitely minimize that by adhering to good modular course design. So that's what we'll be talking about creating in a blank shell. So let me go back to my dashboard. And I'm going to make myself a blank shell. You don't have to make your blank shells. They'll be created for you. Either development shells will be created for you as a result of you making that phone call, or your live Canvas shells, your containers, will be created automatically for you by an integration with PeopleSoft. So let me find, let's see, I had one. Yeah, this one will do. And I'm going to make this a blank shell. This is something that would kind of be handy for you to be able to do as well, which is reset course content. And we did originally give that capability to faculty when we first started using Canvas in a pilot mode. And within the first semester, a faculty member accidentally deleted their course about halfway through the semester. So we sort of pulled back on that. That was something of a mess. So what you will get, either as a development shell or a live shell that's been automatically created, is a blank Canvas course, or blank Canvas shell, if you will. And this is what it will look like when you first enter it. And you will have to put your content into it. There are basically two ways to go about that, as implied by these two big icons here in the Canvas content frame in a blank course. We're going to take the one, the first thing we're going to talk about is the one that you probably won't be lucky enough to be able to, at this point in time, to be able to take advantage of, but we can always hope. And that would be a situation where you get some content from somewhere that you can use that you didn't have to create yourself. That's the purpose of this add existing content link here on the, or icon on the front page of a blank course. How could this come about? Well, some departments have, particularly for some of the more common courses they teach more frequently, have basic Canvas course shells for those courses available. And you can ask, and they can give you a file that you can import into your course that will put at least the outline of a course, a starting point for a course, in your blank shell. You may find a colleague who teaches the same courses that you do who's willing to share their course shells, their course content. There's a lot of work involved in creating that content, so not everyone is willing to do that, but a surprising number of faculty will, if upon being asked, will share their content, and they can export their content into a file, and then you can import it into your course, and we'll see how to do that here in a minute. A third possibility is maybe you have some content on another learning management system somewhere, maybe an old one that you haven't used in a while, like our old Blackboard system. Our old Blackboard system is still around. If you have some content on that system, you can't get to it right now, but we can. And if you had content on that system that you suddenly would like to have because you're suddenly faced with teaching online when you thought you were done with that perhaps on Blackboard, we can still get that content from Blackboard for you, and we can help you import it into your Canvas development shells. So you at least have, again, you'd at least have something to build on in creating your course. If any of those happy events comes to pass, you can just click on this icon right here, and it will take you to the course import page. You can also get to that at any time by going to the settings link in your course menu and selecting import course content, and you end up in the same place. That's all that icon does, is take you automatically to this import content page. The first thing you have to do is tell Canvas what type of content it is, and that will depend on its provenance, its source. if this content is in another course that you have created or that you own on the Canvas system, you can just select copy a Canvas course. Now that course has to be on our Canvas system in order to use this option. If, on the other hand, it's been supplied to you by your department or by a colleague, or perhaps you have some course content on a Canvas system at another institution, and you want to bring that content over and import it into your course shell here at the San Diego district, you would select Canvas Course Export Package, because the zip files that were supplied to you would be in that format, or you might export your course from another system and import it into this one. If, on the other hand, it was in Blackboard, you would pick a Blackboard 9 export file. And you would export your content from Blackboard. Actually, probably we would export it for you, and we would provide you with the Blackboard export file, which would import using this option. So you'd pick one of those options. Say maybe the best bet would be copy Canvas Course Export Package. You'd then look for the file that contained that export package, which you would have stored on your local hard drive. You'd tell Canvas that you wanted, probably tell it you wanted all the content in that file, though you might just want some of it, and you have either option. But usually it'd be all content, and then you just click the import button. And that's all there is to the import process. I'm not going to do that right now because I want to keep this shell blank for the moment. But that's all there is to importing content that someone has provided to you into your Canvas course to get you started, at least, on building your own course shell. But if you don't have generous friends who are generous with their content, or can't acquire this sort of content in any other way, you can also go to what's called the Canvas Commons. And a link to that is always available in this Canvas global navigation menu that you always have over here on the left. If I click that, I go to a massive repository of online education content freely shared by people all over the world who use Canvas. Many of them at the California community colleges, but by no means all of them. The Canvas is used worldwide. And many of these folks have decided to share their course content through this learning objects repository, it's called, the Canvas Commons. You can do the same thing. When you get your own content created, you can put it in here if you want to share it with your colleagues all over the state and all over the world. There are, at the present time, well over 100,000 content objects on the Canvas Commons that range from individual files or modules of content to complete courses that you can pull down and use as a starting point for developing your own course. And just about any subject area will have some resources available in the Canvas Commons. Somebody give me a subject area. It's always interesting to try different things here.
ESL level 3.
ESL level 3. Well, we'll spell it out.
Okay.
English as a second language. Look at that. Somebody searched for that before. Well, why don't we, rather than going level 3, why don't we just take this right now, because that's the kind of thing that might not be reflected in the title or the description of the resource. So English is a second language. Right away, we hit 29 results. And I'll tell you, that's a relatively small number of results compared to some topic searches that you can do in the Commons, but it's still a significant amount of material. And here we see everything from quizzes to content modules like the ones we saw in that other course, to entire courses.
Yay.
Yeah, cool. You know, the quality and the applicability of the material you'll find here is going to vary widely, of course. There's no guarantee that you're going to find something that really you feel is really worthwhile, but the chances are pretty good. You can, let's just pick one of these at random. See if we have anything that might be somewhat advanced. Grammar. Where am I missing it?
Up
here
one.
we go. That's a quiz.
Okay.
So we could import that, and that might be very useful to us. Indeed, sometimes the smaller learning objects like quizzes and homework assignments and so on are really easier to plug into your own course organization than an entire course would be. But let's take a look at how about here's conversation vocabulary.
Yeah, vocabulary.
That was a module, was it not? Looking for it there.
Where is it?
Conversational English.
What about the first one, like just the beginner ESL? The very first one.
Yeah, there we go. Beginner ESL. We'll just take a look at one of these. It doesn't really matter which ones we try first. You can see you can get an idea of what this resource looks like by clicking on the name of it. You can see they've provided several pages, apparently, that you can look at. Quizzes, number of files, and a discussion forum. This one's fairly rudimentary by comparison to some.
Modules, huh?
But, you know, some of them are fully built out courses, which may have materials in them that you would like. You can always import this, keep what you like, throw away what you don't, and then maybe try another resource and pick things you like out of that and throw away, delete out what you don't. Just for the sake of argument, if this looked like something we might like to have in our own course, all we have to do is go over to this big button here that says import/download and click on it. And the process is extremely simple. Canvas just asks, okay, where should I put it? Which course should I put it in? Which of your course shells should I put it in? So I just find one somewhere. I just click on the link, or I select the course that I want to put it into. I think you can even put it into more than one. Yeah, you can. But we'll just select one. And then down at the bottom of your course list here, and hopefully your course list never gets that big, then you just click this blue button that says import into Canvas, and that material will show up in your show within a few minutes. You don't even have to sit here and wait for it to happen. You can go ahead and work on something else within Canvas or outside of it while that import is occurring. That all happens in the background. And within a few minutes, you get an email that says, okay, your import's completed. Go to your course and look. And there'll be this set of modules that's in your course that wasn't there before that will be available in your course. And you can use what you like of it. So this is a great way to get a leg up on starting a Canvas course or just fleshing one out. if there are things like quizzes and things like that you'd like to get without having to spend an inordinate amount of time creating yourself, you can borrow those. That they've been put into this repository so that you can do that. So all of those let's see if I can find that course again. Uh-oh. That's a cheating way to do it, but that's one way to get a start on developing a Canvas course and to adding content to it. But sooner or later, you're going to have to add some of your own content. You're going to want to add some of your own content. Even if you find a course that's almost perfect for you, you're going to have to add some of your own content to it. Or in worst case scenario, you're going to have to create your course from scratch with no help from previously existing material, at least previously existing material in the form of a Canvas course. So how do you go about that? Well, that's the other big icon here, and the one we'll spend the rest of our time today on, creating modules, and within modules, creating content that you want to share with your students. So this big button will get you started on that path. It's a very simple box that pops up, and it just asks you to create your first module. That first module could be anything. Week 1, week 2, chapter 1 module, whatever, or it might be a getting started or introductory module. We'll start off with that idea. And all you have to do to create a module is give it a name. I'm going to call that getting started. And then click the big blue button labeled add module. So here we've got an empty module, our first blank module, an empty bucket into which we can put content. So how do we add content to this module? Well, the Canvas interface is usually pretty intuitive. What do you see on this screen that looks like it might be involved with adding content to this module?
The plus sign.
A plus sign, indeed. Plus means add, right? And this plus sign is obviously associated with this module. A second answer I get sometimes is, oh, the big blue button up there. Well, that would allow you to create another module. And certainly at some point you're almost certainly going to have more than one module in your course. So at some point you're going to have to create another module and give it a name and then add content to it as well in turn. But this plus sign is the one we want to add content to this module. So we click on that plus sign and we get a dialog box up, an add item box that allows us to add something to this module. Specifically, we are going to add a link to some sort of content or activity within that we want the students to carry out within the course. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I had that turned off. I don't know nobody in Missouri. Oh, well. So we're going to create links to content, and in many cases, we're also going to upload content to Canvas or create content within Canvas at the same time. When we add content to modules, as I'm showing you here, through the modules tool itself, you kill two birds with one stone. You create a link to content and you upload the content to Canvas or create the content within Canvas at the same time, rather than having to do it in two separate steps, which is another option. But the first question you have to answer here is, what kind of link, what are you going to add to this module? And here are your options in this menu that you can pull down. Assignments, quizzes, files, pages, discussions, text headers, external URL, and external tools. Those are the things that you can add here. An assignment is a homework assignment. Typically an activity in the course that requires the students to create some sort of file offline, like a writing assignment, an essay, or a term paper, or a paragraph, or whatever. Or it may be a picture that they, a work of art that they create, an image, or maybe a video. Could be just any kind of computer file that the student might create in order to satisfy one of your homework assignments. The student then uploads the file to Canvas using a Dropbox provided through the assignment, and then you grade it and they get a grade. That's an assessment. A quiz is an obvious thing. A quiz is an online quiz that they take within Canvas online at a time usually of their own choosing within limits, and then they get a grade for it. Usually graded automatically unless you have things like essay questions in it that the system can't grade. You might also be adding a file, a computer file from your own computer, probably, or something you got online. Something you created yourself, in most cases, which will be uploaded to Canvas from your computer, and a link to it will be placed in the module, and the student can access that content by clicking on a link to it. Classic example in a getting started module like this one would be your course syllabus. But it could be many other things as well. Or you might be creating a Canvas page. The files and pages are the two main types of content items that you're going to add to your Canvas course. Files containing information that are created outside of Canvas and then uploaded into Canvas, as opposed to pages, which are also files, but they're web page, HTML files, web pages that are created in the Canvas content editor on Canvas, usually. Well, always. Or imported from other sources, but usually created right on within Canvas. This is probably the format that you create most new content for Canvas, stuff you hadn't already created. Instead of, say, typing something in a Word document, you might well just create a Canvas page that contained the same information. The advantage is the Canvas page, being the native content format for Canvas and for web servers in general, will display to the students much more quickly and reliably than, say, a Word document or a PDF document would, even. Though there's nothing wrong with the Word documents and the PDF documents and the PowerPoint presentations as well. You might create a class discussion, a discussion forum. Text header is just a text subdivision in the module. You don't have to use those at all. The other major item or content type that you might use in Canvas is an external URL, a link to content outside of Canvas, like another website. So we have to decide what we're going to upload here, or what we're going to create, what type of content we're going to add. And since the focus of this presentation is adding content to Canvas, we're going to focus on the three common content types: files, pages, and external URLs or web links. We'll start with a file. Since you probably have lots of files on your local computer already, things that you typically print out, send to repro, and hand out to students in class. Your PowerPoint slides, your lecture notes, perhaps, outside reading materials that you've collected for them and that you run off and provide to them, being very careful of copyright restrictions in that regard. So if you have those already, you can simply upload them into your Canvas shell and create a link to them in the appropriate module, and your students will be able to access them from there simply by clicking on the link to the content in the module. Since this is a blank course, I don't have any files here to start with, so I just click New File, and Canvas says, okay, where is it? Well, you click the Choose File button, and Canvas pops up a file find box, either a Windows Explorer or a Finder box on your computer, and you go looking for that file. Hopefully you can find it. It's harder for me every year. I happen to have some files here I use as examples, and of course, as we said, one of the most common things you put into a Getting Started module, like the one we're working in right now, is your course syllabus. And there I have a syllabus file. It's a Word document, but other common file formats might be PDF. You might have rich text files, RTFs, or you might have PowerPoint presentations, Excel spreadsheets, basically any kind of computer file that you might have on your computer that you need to share with your students can be added to a Canvas module and uploaded to Canvas in this way. If the file type is something relatively exotic, you want to make sure that the students are aware that they have to have an application on their computer which will open that file. For instance, if you're uploading, say, an AutoCAD drawing to a module, well, your students better have AutoCAD to be able to open it up and work with it. But in the case of common file formats like Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PDF documents, etc., PowerPoint presentations, etc., Canvas has viewers built into the Canvas system that will display those documents to students without you having to worry about what applications the students have on their local computers, which is a huge advantage over what the situation we used to have in Blackboard. But certainly a Word document should be fine. I just select the document I want to upload and link and click, select it and click Open. That tells Canvas which file I want to upload from my home computer or office computer. And then I just click the Add Item button in the lower right-hand corner. And within a few seconds, the file is uploaded to Canvas. It is placed, the file actually exists in a file storage area that comes with each Canvas course called your File Manager. You can see what's in there at any time by going to the Files link in your course menu here. And there's the first and only file I've uploaded. I go back to the module. There is a link to that file. That's not the actual file, so you don't see the actual contents of the file here. The file is actually living in the file storage area, but this is a link to it so that a student can come in and click on that link and within a few seconds view the document on their screens. If the student wants to have their own copy of the document, to say print it off on a local printer, they can always click a link that shows up here just above the document that will allow them to actually download the document to their local computer. But they don't have to do that. They can just read the document right here. And they can always come back and click on that link and read it again later if they need to. So they can't lose their syllabus. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was due today. I lost my syllabus. That ceases to be an excuse. So we have uploaded our first file and created our first content link in a Canvas module. And it didn't hurt too much. It's a fairly simple process. And now you can just do that over and over and over again with different file types and so on. You can add as many files to a module as you need to. And it's the same process over and over again. New file, choose file. What else have I got here? Oh, let's see. I got a... Just looking for something here. Thought I had a bio here. Sorry. Not sure what I did with that. That's not it. Oh, I could upload a picture of myself. Add item. They don't see me here, but if they click on this link, they will. There are other ways to provide that sort of file to them, but you can just put any type of file here you like. Another type of content already mentioned, other than a file that you have already created offline and that you have available on your personal computer, would be a Canvas page. Canvas pages are also files, but they're files that are created on Canvas, and they live on Canvas. They don't usually end up on your local computer. So you would just select a page instead of a file if you wanted to add that sort of content. And if you hadn't already created any pages, you'd say, I need a new page. And you have to give the page a name. In order to create a blank page, it needs to have a name, and that's all you need to do right off the bat. Let's say this might be a welcome page for a welcome message, or a page containing basic information about your course. You can call it anything you like, and you can change your mind later. But if I add item, again, click add item, I get a link to an empty page. If I click on the name of that page, I see that all it is the title of the page. That's all that's there. But to add content to that, to flesh that page out and actually put information into it, I would click the edit button here in the Pages tool. And I get essentially a blank page in what's called the Canvas Rich Content Editor. It's like a little somewhat limited Microsoft Word, only it's not really a word processor, it's a web editor. Canvas pages are web pages. This is a tool that will allow you to create web pages that work within Canvas without knowing anything about the web, other than what you want to appear to your students. So you don't have to worry about the nasty details of HTML, hypertext markup language, the language in which web pages are created. Canvas handles all that for you, unless you want to actually work and hand code HTML, and you can do that. For those of you who are die-hard programmers, that you can do that in Canvas using the HTML editor mode of this rich content editor. But for the rest of us, we're just going to create something that feels a lot like a Word document that conveys information to our students in several different forms, and then will be stored on Canvas and served up by Canvas when a student clicks on a link to it in a module. So what can we put in here? Well, we can drop pictures, still images, into a Canvas page. To do that, we have this in the second line of icons in the Rich Content Editor control bars. We have an embed image option. That's kind of a familiar little icon. You see that on digital cameras a lot, denoting images. So if you click on that tool, you're given a way to introduce, to insert an image into this Canvas page that you're creating. That image might be in a file stored somewhere on the web, which is the default option here, or it might be a file that you're going to upload to Canvas from your local computer. Or you might have it stored on Flickr, which is an old image repository and has been around for 20 years or more, that people, I guess, are still using. I haven't opened up my Flickr account in 10 years probably, but it's still out there. But the vast majority of the time, you're going to upload an image to Canvas to include in this this document, this Canvas page you're creating. So I'm going to select that Canvas tab, and I do have to tell Canvas where this file, this image file, is going to be stored on Canvas. And you have two options. One is to store it in the file manager, the file storage location associated with this course, or you can put it in your personal file space, which can be then used to share it among different courses. That's a neat idea, but it's you don't have that much space in your My Files area. So usually you're going to put these files in course files. So you select that, and it tells you what files you've already got in there in case you've already uploaded it and you forgot, like me. But once you select course files, this upload file button here lights up. It says, I'm ready. Now you can upload a file. So you click that button, and again, Canvas pops up a file search box, either a Windows Explorer or a Finder window, and you go find that file on that image file on your local computer. It's probably in my pictures library. And what I'm looking for is the Online Learning Pathways banner, which we often use on our web pages. Let me see here. And there it is. Oh, nope, that was almost it. There it is. That's our banner. So I can just select that and click open. And that file just that quickly uploads to Canvas. It tells you, oh, success, big green check mark. Yeah, great, yay! We got an image file up there. There's one thing we need to do before terminating this upload process, however, and that is to provide what's called alt text, which is a brief textual description of what this image represents. Because blind students, of course, can't see this image, and the screen reader software that they use to navigate your Canvas courses can't tell what that image is by itself either. So you have to help it out by typing a brief description of this file. This is the Online Learning Pathways logo. So that will tell the blind student, basically, don't worry about this. It's a logo. It's appearance. But it does give some context to the information that follows. Once you add the alt text, you just click Update in the lower right-hand corner of the Insert Edit Image box.
Dave, I'm sorry. Can you explain again what this alt text is?
Alt text is a text description of a picture that would describe to a blind student what that picture was in as much detail as is appropriate and possible. Alt text is usually quite short. Ideally, it's 2 sentences or less, But if there's a lot of information embedded in an image that you use in your course, you may need a bit more explanation of that. Like if it's a graph, you might have to describe the graph. So it's something that makes your course accessible to blind students in ways that it wouldn't otherwise be. If you convey information by images, which of course we want to, I mean, one picture and 1,000 words, right? Well, hopefully your alt text doesn't have to be 1,000 words, but it may require a few to describe what that image is to a blind student. Great. Once that image appears for us, we can make it a little bigger, a little smaller by clicking on it and grabbing the handles at the corners and clicking and dragging. We can move it around on the page within certain limits. We can center it, for instance. And we've started out with our creating our Canvas page. Another thing, of course, that we can do here is we can type. We can type text into this Canvas page. This is primarily a text editor here, though you can put lots of other things other than the text in, but its genesis was as a text editor. We might put in the title of our course. Just typing as you would in Word. We can, and we have all of the usual text editing tools here. We can center that. We can make it, we can bold it. We'd even italicize it if we wanted to. Bold and italicize, oh boy. We can change text and background colors. We can make it bigger.
Can you
What we
change the
can't,
font?
yes, please.
Can you change the font?
Oh boy, okay, I didn't pay you to say that, did I? You swear that was an entirely spontaneous question.
That vaguely from another class you gave.
That is exactly what I was about to say. You can't, unfortunately, change the font. Fonts are things that are governed by the student, by their web browsers in a web page. And this is not a Word document. This is a web page that you're creating. And you have somewhat less control over the appearance of a web page than you do of, say, a Word document. So you have to accept certain standard things, that certain things will be out of your control to alter. And the font is one of them. You notice there's no option here to select a font. You can select size, and you have limited control. You can select what's called paragraph text, which is the default, which is a standard text that you would find inside of a paragraph, or it can be headers, larger, bolder text, or it can be pre-formatted text, which comes in formatted from some other source in perhaps another font. But you have to create that outside of the rich content editor. You can't just type it in. So you have relatively limited control over typography in creating a web page. So because of the way the web works, web browsers and web servers work. But you can type, and you can create legible text that people can read. And you can do it in a fashion that's pretty familiar. If you're familiar with any kind of text editor, any kind of word processor or whatever, you won't have any trouble learning to use the rich content editor in that regard. So our Canvas pages can include still images or graphics, text, which we can type in, or if we had text already created in, say, a Word document, we can paste that text into the rich content editor rather than having to retype it. And that's pretty safe in Canvas. That was an activity fraught with all sorts of danger in Blackboard, which had a content editor that looked a lot like this one, but which wasn't nearly as robust and reliable. You can get away with pasting text and even graphics from Word into here and not have it blow up the entire document as it sometimes did in Blackboard. So Canvas is just generally a more user-friendly environment in that regard. Another thing that you'll often put into Canvas pages are links to video. Video is a tremendous content type for online courses. It provides that element that your students don't always get, which is to see you actually lecturing, though you can certainly do that through Zoom, but you can't through Canvas, not effectively anyway. So you can provide your students with videos that range from simple, "Hi there, I'm your instructor, glad to meet you," and all that, to very complex presentations of content. Things like screencasting, where you record your computer screen and show narrate a PowerPoint presentation, or provide all sorts of instructionally useful information. So video is one of the most powerful content types that you can put into Canvas. And the usual method for introducing video to an online course in Canvas is to embed that video in a Canvas page like we're doing right here. You can do that by going to your Insert Edit Media tool in the Rich Content Editor, the second icon from the left. And you're basically just assuming here that this is a video that is already online, or on Canvas. But we seriously do not recommend that you upload video to Canvas. Canvas is not designed as a video server. It has limited capability in that regard. And you only have a limited amount of storage space, file storage space in your course, which you can use up very quickly with large video files. Not only that, video files which are put onto Canvas, actually uploaded into Canvas, are usually not accessible to students with disabilities, which is a big no-no. So generally, if you're going to use video in an online course, it's going to be video that's stored somewhere, that's online, and that's stored somewhere other than on Canvas. And of course, one of the most common repositories for video on the web is YouTube. So it may well be on YouTube, but it may be on any veritable plethora of other websites. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that the video we want to embed here is on YouTube. Well, we can go to YouTube and find it. We can search for video in our subject area. Continue that theme. English as a second language. There's only about a gajillion different videos on English as a second language. You would never get through them all. You would perish before getting to the bottom of this list, in all probability. But you could, of course, search more restrictively by adding other search terms here. But you could pull up all sorts of video that you could use. And if it's publicly available on YouTube and can be searched for. You can use it in your course. There's no copyright restriction there because it's been made freely available on a public site. But this video may well be video that you yourself have created. In that event, you would be logged into YouTube. You would go to your YouTube studio, clicking on your image there, or your avatar image, and going to YouTube Studio again, and go to your video list. And you might have lots of videos on YouTube.
Dave, can you show again how did you get there to that
my video list?
To that page when you're in your studio? Yeah, how did you get there? Can you show again?
From the YouTube, main YouTube homepage.
Yeah, you click on your avatar and then, okay, you click there.
Click on the avatar image in the upper right-hand corner. You may or may not have uploaded a profile picture.
Yes.
That doesn't matter. That event, there'd just be a silhouette there.
No, I have it.
You
Yes,
click
okay.
on that, and then you select YouTube Studio
Okay.
right here.
And where is it? Can you show again?
Right here, YouTube Studio.
Visit
where I'm
site,
playing.
yes? Okay,
Huh?
YouTube, okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
YouTube Studio, this menu pops up when you click on your avatar image. You go to YouTube Studio, and in the YouTube Studio, on the left is a menu, and the second item is your videos. This is where your videos are displayed. And you may have page after page of them. It's estimating I have about 127 on there. Actually, I have over 500 on there. So I find the video I'm looking for.
In the past, it was called a manager, and then it disappeared.
This is called
Dave.
YouTube Studio.
Dave, in the past, it was called manager.
In the past, it was called
A manager.
right. At one point, it was called Video Manager.
This was called, and
then
then it
was
disappeared.
called Classic. Yeah, YouTube Studio Classic, and now the new YouTube Studio. But this is your Video Manager. In fact, they've just changed the name and made it look a little different. But this is where you find.
Okay, that's why I was so confused.
Yeah. Okay, and let me see. Let me pull something up over here. There's a video I want to find for you. I'm going to cheat and look it up to keep you from having to watch me search for it. I'm working on another monitor, handy thing to have. Intro. Let's search for intro. That's the one I want. Actually, it's not. All right, so I find the video that I want. I will just take this one. I go to the details page, the little, well, let's just go to the video itself. And here I can view it on YouTube. And below and to the right of the video is a share button. And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session today on Introduction to... Sorry, it wants to start all on its own. Go to share, and I just copy. Here's the link to this video, the web link, the share link. I just copy that to my clipboard by clicking on this word copy here. Then I go back to Canvas to where I was inserting this video into this page, paste that into that source box, and click OK. And you get what's called a video embed. If it's a Word, or if it's a YouTube video anyway, it automatically embeds the video so that you see a frame of the video and a play button. This doesn't actually upload the video into Canvas. This is a fancy looking link to the video. The video is still on YouTube or whatever other site you might have found it on. And they will pay for the stories. They'll pay for the bandwidth. And you're just linking out to that. When your student clicks on this button, it will play from YouTube or from wherever.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Introduction to Screencast.
One of the nice things about YouTube, of course, essential things really, is that it automatically captions any video that's uploaded to it, or 99% of the time it does anyway. Unless the sound quality is extremely poor, or there's no dialogue.
Dave,
no Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
apologize. If you remove this video from your YouTube, so it will disappear from Canvas, yes?
If you were to embed the video into a page and then delete it on YouTube,
if you remove
yes,
your video from YouTube,
it would vanish from your Canvas page. That is correct. You just end up with a little broken link symbol. And Canvas's way of saying, I don't know what happened to it. It's not there anymore. That would be something you'd obviously want to avoid. But so we've embedded a video here. I can embed multiple videos if I need to in a page. But the process is very simple, and it allows your students to play the video right from within the Canvas page without having to go out and navigate to YouTube. And even more importantly, not having to be bombarded with all the advertisements that are and distractions that are available at YouTube. Things that are, I don't know about you, but they're a lot more interesting than I am in most cases. So they can play it here.
Screencasting is about the simplest multimedia production technique I know.
They can make it bigger.
All you got to
make it bigger so it's easier to see. And avoid most of the downside of using YouTube for student instructional videos.
Dave, I have a question. I'm going to have to go because the
Go ahead.
ESL dean is in a meeting. But anyways, in the certification course, the text is really small. So I keep moving my desktop closer to me. Is there a way in the course that I can make it larger?
You can always magnify the display of information in a web page, which is what you're viewing when you're in Canvas, on a web browser by holding down the Control key on your keyboard. I'm assuming here you're using a computer. You hold down the Control key and touch the plus key.
Oh, okay. That's for Macs also?
Macs also. This is a browser feature, not an operating system feature.
Oh, okay.
So, and then you can, with the Control minus, you can take it back. So you can always magnify web pages that way and make it a lot easier to read.
Thank you.
You bet. So what else can we put into a Canvas page? The Canvas page is the star of this show, obviously. This is the content item that you're probably going to use more than anything else. So what else can you put in here? Well, you can also put in links to external content, web links or hyperlinks to content not in Canvas that you might want your students to use. If I were teaching a course on screencasting, as I'm theorizing here, I might want to give my students access to certain screencasting tools that they can try out for free. And I could put a link to that right here below this video. To put in a hyperlink, however, I have to have an anchor for the link. I have to have something for the students to click on in order to navigate away from this page. And typical anchor is text. So I could just type get free trial software for screencasting at TechSmith, which is the leading purveyor of screencasting tools still today. But how do I make this a link that the students can click on and go to TechSmith and see this and see how they can get free trials? Well, I just highlight the text, select it, and then I go to my link to URL button, or hyperlink button as it's more commonly called, and click on that, and I'm asked to just paste or type in the URL, the web address to which I wish this link to take the students. And that would be, if I type it in, I could always go and paste it or copy paste it, but I remember this one. There it is right there. I've done this before. www.techsmith.com. I just select that and insert a link. And now that is a hyperlink. It's a little hard to tell that here, but if I save this page, there's all. If now a student were to come in and click on this link, they would immediately go to the TechSmith homepage. And that would open in a new tab on the browser so they could easily get back to their Canvas course without having to figure out how to get back there. Whoops. Accidentally clicked on it again. There we go. So that going back into edit mode here in the rich content editor, I can create links to external content. I can also create links to content inside Canvas. Content that is stored, that I've already uploaded to Canvas. Or perhaps a navigation link, or a subdivision or a compartment of the Canvas course. For instance, maybe I want to give them a link to their modules. The modules are the core of the course, right? So maybe I want to give them a link that they can click on and go straight to the top of the modules tool, which we were creating before. I can do that by again, putting in an anchor, like a picture. I can use a picture as an anchor. Indeed, let's do that. Let me go to Google and search for images for Canvas modules. I'm just looking for a picture. Most of this is not appropriate. Looking for something more generic that would indicate a module and not be associated with a particular school like this or whatever. Usually I can find something a lot faster than this. You get a lot of options, but watch a video about Canvas modules. Oh, that's closer. That's the sort of thing I'm looking for, but just I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Let's see, Canvas using modules. How about that? I can just right click, save image as, go to my pictures tool, let's call it modules, save it, go back to Canvas. Now I've already seen how I can put a still image into a page by going to this edit image, embed image tool. And I'll want to upload that to Canvas to course files, just as I did before. I'll click upload file. Doesn't hurt to go back through this process again. And I'll search for the modules picture that I just downloaded, open that. And I'll just, for alt text, I'll just say modules logo and update it. Using modules in Canvas. Okay, I can make that bigger or smaller if I need to. I can center it or I can left justify it, whatever looks right. And now I can select that tool and I can go over here in these tabs over here on the right that we haven't looked at yet, the rich content editor, and we need to play with. And I can go to the links tab, which is the first one you encounter. And I can link to Canvas pages, which of the type I'm creating right here. I can link to Canvas assignments, to quizzes. I could put a link to a quiz right here if I wanted to. Say, and don't forget to do this week's quiz and put a link, and they could click on that link, go straight to the quiz from the page. Announcements, discussions, modules, or course navigation. In this case, I really want the course navigation because I want to take them to the modules tool. Course navigation would be one of the links here in this course menu. So I want to take them to the modules link from here. So I just click that. Nothing apparent happens to that picture, but now if I save this page and the students come in and look at this page, if they mouse over that picture, that's now an anchor to an internal link, and that will take them straight to the modules that we've begun to build. And here's that page again. So I can go back to that page. That page is now linked into that module because we started it from within the module. The link is created automatically when we save the page the first time. Actually, the link is created when we create the blank page. But as we edit the page, that link leads us not just to a blank page, but to a page full of content like this. And we can just keep editing this page and editing and editing. We can add more text, more video, more images, anything that's more links, anything that's appropriate. Though generally you don't want any one Canvas page to contain too much reading material or too many videos or too many links because it gets cumbersome. It's always better to keep your content broken into relatively small chunks. And just rather than making one huge page, you might make 4 or 5 little ones that are related to one another that are all linked into the same module. But here we've created at least a fairly typical, if small, Canvas page. And we can then save it and go back to our module. And the students now can have access to that page. They don't right this minute. Students, if there were any students in this course, they would not have access to that page right this minute. Anybody know why? Students, if they could get into this course, would not see that page. They wouldn't see the link to it, nor could they get to it.
It's not published.
It's not published. Exactly. Publish in Canvas means to make it available to students. That includes everything from the course itself on down to individual items within the course. Modules, links, and so on, files within the course have to be published in order to be visible to your students. And this one is not, and I can tell it's not because of this little symbol right here that says that slash circle indicates it's not published. If I click on that slash circle, I get a green circle with a white check mark, and that tells me it's published. Would students be able to see this page now?
Yes.
Trick question. Alert.
Yes.
Unfortunately not. Why?
You don't have it completely public.
It's a square around it.
Right. Instead of circle.
No. The items within the modules are published within the module, but the module itself is not published. If the module itself is not published, that overrides these settings. So the module itself has to be published. Now the students can see that, could see that module if they were in the course. You can verify that for yourself by going to the home link in the course menu and going to Student View. Student View allows you to see your course as your students do, just by clicking on that button. And now, yes, the students can see those links and can click on them and view them. So, we've learned how to put into a module, and I can leave Student View and get back to being me. And but when I'm in Student View, I'm an actual student, a student that will have a row in your gradebook, a student that can take tests, submit homework assignments, while you're acting as that student. So it's a very powerful tool for evaluating your course and seeing if it looks to your students as you think it does, and whether it works for your students or not. So Student View is a powerful tool. But we can leave that view and come back and be our instructor selves again. And here we have the beginnings of a module. We have added 2 of the 3 major content links or content types that Canvas affords to this module. But there's a third one that I still want to talk about, and that's the external URL, the web link. That's very similar to what we did in the page, where we created this link to the TechSmith website. This is a web link, an external URL, or a link to content not stored in Canvas, as opposed to here where we were storing, creating a link to something inside Canvas. But you can put links to external content directly into your modules using that same add button that we used before. And this time, instead of a file or a page, we select an external URL. This allows us to allows students to jump directly to some resource out on the web somewhere. This might be, say, a guide to screencasting, a guide to the topic that this course is going to cover, found on the TechSmith website. I can search for that in Google. There it is. The only thing I need to create a hyperlink really is the URL, the web address for that page on the web. You can always find that in the address line of your web browser and copy it to your clipboard. And then go back to Canvas and paste that URL, Uniform Resource Locator or web address, into this URL box here. Though you do still have to provide an anchor. You have to provide some text that the students can click on. So I'll call this the guide call it Fred if I wanted to. And I like to load stuff in new, well, actually, let's not bother to do that here. We'll just let that show up in the Canvas content screen. If you're linking in links to, if you're creating external URLs to things like videos, it's always a good idea to load them in a new tab so that you have the maximum amount of space to display them. But something like this can easily be displayed within the Canvas content frame. So we'll just leave that unchecked and click Add Item. Now I have another link, content link in my module because I started this process from the module tool itself. I can publish that so students can see it. Then a student can come by and click on the link there, and boom, that appears. And they can read it, view it, do whatever you instruct them to do with it. And then they can always go back to their modules and proceed from there. You might note, however, that if I make this, you do not have to go back to the modules tool every time to navigate a module. You can use little navigation links that automatically appear at the bottom left and right of items that you access in the Canvas module. Here's a previous link. If I click on that, I go back to that page I just created. At the bottom of this page, there are previous and next buttons as well. So I can go back and forth within the module without having to go back and click on the link, the modules link in the course menu, though I always have that option as well. So these are your three primary content types that you're going to put into your course. All of the information that you want to share with your students is going to be embedded in one of these. A file, a Canvas page, a file that you create on your local computer and upload to Canvas and link into it, a Canvas page that you typically create on Canvas in the Canvas Rich Content Editor, or an external URL, a web link, which points to content that is out on the web that is outside of Canvas that you probably have just found and you want to use. And again, if it's a publicly accessible website, you can link to it without copyright, without violating copyright. You can use any publicly shared material on the web for instructional purposes without getting the copyright holder's permission. And the process of designing your, creating your Canvas course is just more of the same. You create more modules. And you add content to those modules in turn, just as we've done with this Getting Started module. So the process of creating a Canvas course is just more of the same of what you've seen here. Uploading files, creating pages, and inserting web links over and over and over again with different material related to different topics within your course that you may already have or that you can find and utilize. And that's the basic content creation process in Canvas. Let me take a quick look at my outline here to make sure I'm not forgetting something critical. I know of a couple of things I need to otherwise cover. Reordering, right. The order of modules in this tool and the order of items within modules is easily changed. If, for instance, you wanted this welcome page to be the first thing in the first module, you can just mouse over this movement tool here, this double row of dots, and drag that up, and drop it in place. You can even move content items between modules. Let's say you decided that this guide to screencasting was really part of your topic 1 module instead of your getting started module. You could click and drag that down and drop it, and it becomes a part of the other module. You can also move modules around the same way. By going to your movement tools here. You can move modules. You can either put them at the top, at the bottom of the modules tool, or insert them before, or cause them to move before or after other modules. So it's quite simple to move this content about and reorder it. And indeed, that's all that many people do in a Canvas course. A lot of Canvas courses, let's go back to that course we looked at the beginning of the presentation, which was kind of what we were sneaking up on building out here. And in many cases, what students see in a Canvas course is, when they first enter it, is just the modules. And they start at the top and they start working their way down. And that's perfectly acceptable. It's perfectly straightforward. It ensures that the students know where to start, how to get started, how to proceed, what order they should do things in. If the modules are properly created, this is all they need. This is the only place they really need to go in the Canvas course. However, it's not real sexy looking. It's pretty Spartan in its appearance. Many people would rather have something more welcoming, more visually interesting appear when the student first enters the course. And that's something you can very easily do. You can create what's called an opening page, which is a Canvas page. We've already seen how to create a Canvas page. But you can create a Canvas page and you can make it what is called the course entry point, or the first thing that the student sees when they enter the course. That's easy, simple enough to do. Let's go back to that course that we were playing with and creating. That right now has a course entry point that looks like this. You're automatically dropped into the modules tool, and that's a safe, functional option. But I did create this nice welcome page here. Well, how nice it is debatable, but it's a little more interesting than that simple list of links. How can I make this the first thing the student sees? Well, I can do that by going to the Pages link in the course menu, which is your Pages tool. This is where your pages are stored, actually. You can link them into modules, but they actually live in the Pages tool. I just have one page in there right now. But one of the things I can do with this page is go to this context menu out here at the far right of the detail line for this page in the Pages tool. If you had more pages, they'd all be showing up here just in a big long list. That's what the Pages tool looks like. But if I click on this menu option, I can use this as the front page. Great. I select that. A little icon that says front page appears next to the name of the page, so that tells me that this page, among any others I might create, is going to be the one that the students see first when they enter the course, ideally. So if the student either enters the course or clicks on the home button, they should see this page. Oops, not quite yet. This is unfortunately not one of the most intuitive tasks in Canvas. I exercised my vocabulary with some vigor when I was learning to do this myself, because I said, I just told it to make that the front page. Why didn't it do it? Well, it turns out there's a second thing you have to do. And you have to do it from the home link in the course menu. Over here in the task menu on the right is a link that says choose home page. At which point I said, well, I blankety blank thought I already did that. But all right. So I click that link and I find out that there are 5 things that I can use as the course entry point for a Canvas course. I can use something called the course activity stream, which is just a kind of a stream of consciousness of what's going on in the course. I don't recommend that. I could use the course modules as the course entry point, which is the default and is a good choice, as we've seen. I could use the assignments list, which shows all of the links to all of the assessments within the course, the homework assignments, the quizzes, the graded discussions. I could make that first, but that's going to tempt my students to just start trying to take quizzes and things like that without reading any of my content that I've just spent all this time putting into the course. So I'm not too enamored of that either. Or the syllabus tool. This is not the syllabus like the one that I showed you how to upload into that module. This is a syllabus tool in Canvas that I'm not too fond of either. So that's not a good choice for me. But the 5th option is to cause the page, the Canvas page, that you have designated as the front page to be the first thing the student sees. So you just select that radio button and then save the change. And now when the student first comes into the course or clicks on the home button after entering it, they see this front page. And this is where they begin. But one thing you want to be very careful of is to not make this opening page a cul-de-sac, where the student, in order to get out of it, has to go over here and click on something in the course menu, like the modules tool. Well, that's why we might have a link on this welcoming page to the course modules. If they click there, then they go to the modules and they start working on the course. But the first thing they see is a bit more salubrious. And also it has, that typically a welcome page, an opening page, would have a lot more on it than this. A lot more than just the title of the course and maybe a welcoming video and some links. You'd probably have course objectives here, have some basic information, say from the first page of your syllabus on this, so that the students would be presented with that right away. Or at least a more extensive set of text describing the nature of the course and so on. Of course, that's in part what this video does too. It talks about what the course is going to be and what they're going to be doing and things like that. But it's nice to have it in text form as well, because some people consume information better in the form of text and others consume it better in the form of media. And most people do better if you give them both. So your welcoming page is likely to be your front page is likely to be much more extensive than this, have lots of pretty pictures, and if not a video of you, at least a picture of you so that they know what you look like. They really crave that. They really, in a fully online course, they never see you unless you do Zoom sessions with them, which is a wonderful thing to do. But if it's a fully asynchronous course, they never see you. So just at least knowing what you look like is a tremendous help in alleviating the psychological isolation that they tend to feel in an online course. So this sort of welcoming entry to the course is really pretty important, far more important than you might think otherwise. So that's how you create an opening page. And that pretty much gives you the tools that you need to create and add content to your Canvas course. What you add, of course, is up to your preferences and the needs of your subject matter. But typical content would include lecture notes, PowerPoint slide decks, even better, videos with narrated PowerPoint presentations in them. just like you would give in class. Exam review materials, reading assignments, etc. The sorts of things that you rely on in class. And indeed, quite commonly, video lectures, which you have created probably in Zoom and recording a Zoom session. And then you can put a link to those Zoom recordings in your modules or in a Canvas page, like create a page, new page, page name, Zoom recording of this session. It's not the first time we've done this session. I could add right here a link or a page, a Canvas page, and then I could go into that Canvas page and edit that page, edit that blank page, and go to my Insert Edit Media tool and find the URL for a recording of this session, which I could find on our Open On Demand video tutorial site at the district, sdccdolvid.org. Let me put that in the chat tool. All right, that's in the bottom of the chat tool. And go to Workshop Archives here at the top, and you'll find recordings of most everything we've done up to about the last 3 or 4 days over several years. And the last time we did this particular session, content creation in Canvas, there are 6 pages with 12 links on 12 videos on a page. So we've done a few of these. Where was the last content creation? Well, if I don't want to just search through those, I can just search for content creation. Search box, save us all some time. There we go. Content creation and file management. And here's the most recent one, March the 12th. I've sworn we had one since then. Oh, well. I can just pull that one up. Get the URL for it up here on the on the address line of the browser, copy that to my clipboard, paste. Actually, that's not the link I want there. Sorry. I want the actual YouTube link, which I can get by right-clicking on this embed here and copy the video URL. I'll go back to Zoom, go to the Insert Edit Media, paste that in here, and OK it. And there's a link. There's an embed to that video. Just save it and publish it. Go back to my module. I can publish it from right here. Now I can go back to my module. I've got a link to it there. I just click on that, and the student's taken to an embed. So you can post your Zoom recordings, whether they be embedded or whether they be saved on YouTube or on the Zoom cloud. You can link them into a Canvas page, or you can put them in as an external URL in a module, and you can provide links to your video lectures that you have recorded using Zoom or whatever other technology you like. Zoom being by far the easiest and most common and free to you. So that's how a Canvas course is built. Now I'm going to go back to the chat tool first and check on those questions that people have been dropping in there. I've seen a few. I have a question about saving material on the Canvas course. I think, yeah, that's right. We did talk about that. I remember that. A suggestion to craft your discussion post in a text editor and then copy and paste. Well, that's very good advice. That's a great way if you're ever typing lots of information, like in answer to something in the online training course, and you're typing lots of information, and you then want to put that in a discussion post or a homework assignment in Canvas, an assignment submission in Canvas, it's a good idea to type it offline in Word or some other text editor, and then copy and paste it into Canvas, into the text box in Canvas. That way, if you mess up, you don't lose it. And everybody messes up sooner or later, I guarantee you. I certainly have done it many times. So that's excellent. That's excellent advice. Do shells disappear at the end of a semester and have to be recreated for the beginning of the next? They never disappear. Your shells will never disappear from Canvas. Well, maybe 5 years down the line, when we've got 4 or 5 years of old shells that are not being used anymore on Canvas, we might archive them. But you would still be able to get them back if you needed them. But for now, your shells are not going to vanish from Canvas. You will have access to your shells indefinitely. Full access to your shells indefinitely. They're never going to disappear. You will, however, get new shells at the beginning of each new semester. You can't use the shell from the previous semester in the new semester. You'll have a new shell. So what you're going to have to do is copy the content from your last semester's shell for that course, or from your development shell for that course, into the live shell for the new semester. And you have to do that at the beginning of each new semester. But you will never lose access to those shells that have already completed, because that's where those shells will contain your students' submissions, their grades, their communications with you, and so on, and you will never lose access to that content. Because you might need it someday. You might have a grade challenge a year and a half down the line. You have to be able to go back into that shell and figure out at that point in time. You won't remember why that student got an F in all probability, unless they were really memorable. And we've all had those. But probably you're going to have to go back and look through that shell and figure out what happened. And you will always have that capability. So don't worry about that. And Canvas, the only time Canvas has ever lost data from a course shell is when someone has deleted it. Someone with instructor level access has deleted it from the shell. Canvas does not lose content. It does not lose grades. It does not lose submissions, student submissions, and so on. It's an exceptionally reliable, it's based upon an exceptionally reliable database that is maintained at Amazon Web Services, which runs about 1/3 of the internet, the whole internet, all over the world. So you don't have to worry about Canvas losing stuff for you. What if you find a module in the Commons, publish it, and then change your mind? Really good question. You can always get rid of a module if you don't want it anymore. Or you can get rid of any link within the module. If, for instance, I didn't want this picture of me to appear in this Getting Started module anymore, because let's face it, I do not add much to the appearance of the course, I can go to the context menu for that item out to the right here. Let me bring that in a little bit so it's a little easier to see. I can click on that menu button and I can remove that from the module. That, by the way, does not, and then I have to OK that, and then it just disappears. That didn't, by the way, delete that file from your file manager. It's still in the file manager. I could bring it back in later if I wanted to, but it's no longer linked into the module. You can also just get rid of a module completely by going to the context menu associated with the module and selecting delete. And that will blow the module away and everything and all of the links that are in it. Again, it won't eliminate content files or pages within Canvas. It won't delete those from the file manager or the pages tool, but it will eliminate the links and the module that shows in the modules tool. So you can always get rid, if you bring stuff in from the Commons that you don't want to keep, you can always get rid of it. Okay, very good. I have students giving PowerPoint presentations in Zoom next week. Can you please remind us how to let students share their Zoom screens? And that's something that's a little hard to show you in Zoom because Zoom doesn't share Zoom screens. So I can't show that to you, but I can stop the share here for a second and talk about it. If you want your students to be able to share their screens, there is a little security box. And I do have a video that shows all this, but I don't think I want to show you that right now. I don't want to take that time. But in the host menus on Zoom, there's a little security icon in the left part of the Zoom menu at the bottom of the screen. And if you click on that security icon, there are several behaviors, the Zoom behaviors that you can alter quickly if something starts going wrong in a meeting, like you get Zoom bombed. Somebody breaks in and starts sharing naked pictures of themselves, or I promise you that will not happen here today, or disrupting the class in other ways. This security link allows you to turn things that students or attendees can and can't do on and off in Zoom. And one of the things it can do is allow you to control participant screen sharing. And participant screen sharing may be turned off by default in your course. So you can just click on that little security icon and make sure that there is a check mark next to the entry that says allow participants to share screen. Again, I can't show you that, unfortunately, live, but that all I can do is describe it. But you want to make sure that participant or student screen sharing is turned on. If that's the case, any student can share their screen at any time. There are obviously times you might not want that turned on. So it's something you could turn on when you were ready for the students to actually make their presentation.
And so
There's
that's
also,
me.
I'm sorry?
I said, so that's me. And they just, when it's their turn to give their presentation, they click on, okay, share screen.
Right. So then if you have allowed them to share their screen, they share their screen exactly the same way you share
Okay.
yours.
Okay.
You can even give individual students capability to share their screens. You can have general participants screen sharing turned off, and then you can give different students individually option to share their screens. That's more cognitive load for you. I wouldn't do that unless I had people misbehaving.
Okay.
And they're probably not going to do that. You do still hold their grades hostage. And if somebody does share their screen at an inappropriate time, all you have to do to stop that is share your screen. And your screen share will
Override it.
override. Yes, I was going to use the T word, and I'm trying to wash that out of my
Yeah,
ew. So you know which word I was going to use. I can tell. The override is a much better term. Thank you. And you can always override anybody else sharing their screen as the instructor, as the host of the meeting. Okay. All right. Let's see. There was more to that question, I believe. Let me proceed. Can they upload their PowerPoint presentations to Canvas so I can have a look at them later? Sure. You could create an assignment,
Okay.
a homework assignment to which they could upload their presentations, or you could, if you wanted everybody to be able to see everybody else's PowerPoints, you could create a discussion forum, and they could attach their PowerPoint files to a discussion post. So that's two different ways to do that.
Does Canvas have a limit on the size storage? Like if everybody's putting their
No, that doesn't count against your file storage.
Okay.
So they can be as big as they like. We obviously smaller is better, but no, they're not going to be stopped from uploading their PowerPoint presentations because they got a little beefy. All right.
Dave, I have a question.
Yes, Ernie.
When I log into my Canvas dashboard, I've requested a developmental shell, and I get a blank tile. I actually see ghost tiles, and I'm not able to add any content. I'm not sure
you
what
click on them and you click on them and nothing happens.
Nothing happens. I have just all ghost shells. When I say ghost, they just don't have anything, any color.
Okay, I need to take a look at that.
Yeah.
If you want to wait around for a minute, we can do that. I'll do that live. I'll share my screen. We'll take a look at it.
Oh, sure.
If not, you're welcome to email me and give me the. Just remind me, and I can go in and I can act as you.
Okay.
Using an administrative tool, and I'll go and look and see what the Jesus is going on.
Yeah,
That's
this
weird.
is my frustration. I haven't been able to do anything because of that.
Oh no, we'll get that sorted out right away.
Would you prefer me to email you or wait?
I'm fine with you waiting, and we'll take a look at it. I can't wait to see this.
Okay.
This one is odd. Okay, I do have a third part to that question that I was doing a minute ago. Let's see. Can you please go over the settings regarding students being able to view choices, correct answers, what they mean and how they work in a quiz, I take it, in a Canvas quiz? Yeah. Okay, sure. Since that's immediately germane to what we're talking about here. I got to find Canvas again. I know I had it here a minute ago. There we go. Let's see, and I'm not sharing my screen. That's a bad habit. I like to be able to see you all when I talk to you, so sometimes I unshare my screen and then I start talking about something that I can see and you can't, which is real bad habit in Zoom. Try to break myself of that, but you should be seeing this now. So let's just let me go to another course that has a quiz in it and pull up the quiz. And we'll look at the quiz settings that govern student feedback on quizzes. I can always shortcut my way to my quizzes by clicking on the quizzes link in the course menu. This is where your quizzes actually live. You can create your quizzes from within the modules tool, and you can link them into the modules tool, but they actually live here in the quizzes tool. And we just pick a quiz at random here and edit it and go to the settings right here. Whoop. Right here, that govern what students see after they take the quiz. Number one, they don't see anything until after they've submitted the quiz.
Okay.
They'll never see any of this before they submit the quiz. This is only after. Your first option is whether to let them see anything. Maybe you don't want them to have any feedback at all, because it's very high security or something. So you can uncheck this box right here and they don't see anything. After they finish the quiz, they just get a receipt that says quiz accepted. They will get a score if there were objective questions that Canvas could grade in the test, they'll get a score, maybe a partial score. If there were essay questions and so on, it'd just be a partial score. But they'd get something. But they wouldn't see any of the questions. They wouldn't see the answers. They wouldn't see what they answered, what was correct, or anything like that if you leave this unchecked. But if you want them to have some feedback on the test, if you check this, they will immediately see whatever you select henceforth, as soon as they submit the quiz.
Okay.
Though you can govern whether the students notice that incorrect questions will be marked, so they'll know which ones they missed. And by a process of elimination, the ones they got right, but they will not by default see their correct answers. You can limit them to seeing this only once, right after they submit the test, or not, as you prefer. If you uncheck that, they can always go in their grades tool and see their test submission. And they can see, if this is checked, they can see the questions, the answers, and which ones they missed. If you also wish them to see the correct answers to the ones that they missed, you can check this button. And if that's all you check, they'll see the correct answers immediately upon submission, upon submitting the quiz. They'll get their test paper and they'll see what they got right. And for the ones they got wrong, they'll be able to see what the correct answers were. Or you can have the correct answers show only after a certain date and time. And you can even have those correct answers visible only for a period of time. You can set a time when they first appear and a date and time when they disappear from the student's grades tool. So those are your feedback options for students. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was scared because I didn't remember that it was only after they submitted their exam.
Yeah. No, they'll never see anything before they
Right.
submit.
So I didn't check anything because it said incorrect will be marked, and I thought, yeah.
Yeah. No, that would make it a little too easy.
Can I tell you
Okay.
something?
Please.
Can I tell you something I learned yesterday?
Please.
I imported an exam and I exported it and imported it back so it could be a test bank.
Cool.
And so I did that. And then I created exam 4 and told it to take the 60 questions from the test bank.
You created a question group.
Correct. And only after I created the question group in exam 4, then I went into the test bank and edited the questions and got rid of all the A and B, D is A and B. I spent hours fixing up the test bank. And when I gave the exam yesterday morning, it grabbed from the original test bank. So
Right.
I learned it's not going to grab the questions when the exam starts. It grabs them right then and holds on to them until the exam starts. So, right?
So what you're saying is your edits did not appear.
They did not make it onto the exam, and so the exam was a small.
That's interesting. I wasn't aware of that.
I know. Right. So that's what I learned. So when you create a question,
what you have to do is you have to edit the questions in the bank before
Correct.
you create the question group.
Correct.
Fascinating. I'll do a little research on that and see.
So I guess so when you create the question group, it grabs them right then.
But it's going to pull a different set of questions for each student.
I know.
But under normal circumstances,
Anyway, it
using
didn't
question
get
group
the
that
edits.
way, it should pull a different set for each student. So I'm not sure how that could work.
How
I'm
does
going to
it
look
do
into
that?
that.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I'd never
Well, that's
seen
what
that
happened.
happen. I am going to check that out and see what the heck's going on there.
Okay.
That is fascinating. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, we got another great content-related question. Can you change the file or the page after you uploaded it into Canvas? And Ardith, the answer to that is no and yes. You can't change a file, generally. You cannot change a file once you've uploaded it to Canvas. If you want to make changes to a file content item in Canvas, you have to delete the file out of Canvas and then upload it again make the changes on your local computer externally to Canvas and then upload the file again. You can't edit a file on Canvas. A page, on the other hand, you can edit on Canvas at any time because it was created probably on Canvas or imported from another Canvas course or whatever. But pages you can edit on Canvas. Files you can't. Really good question. I should add that to my syllabus.
I had a couple of others in there too. All right, but
good. I'm working my way down to them. Can you please interpret student activity on exams? What does it mean when they exit and resume at the same time? I'm looking into that right now. That shouldn't happen because I know the students are not actually exiting the exam, coming back in. Why does it seem any time away from the screen other than 0 occurs in 15-minute intervals? And for what reason would a student activity log say exit? That is something I'm looking into right now. I don't have an answer for you right this minute, but I am looking into that. Why would you put the syllabus, here's another one from Ardith. Why would you put the syllabus on the file? Why not put it on the syllabus? Well, what's Ardith is asking about there is this syllabus link in your course menu. That is not a link to the syllabus that you upload into a module. That is the syllabus link. That link takes you to the Syllabus Tool, which is a means of displaying your syllabus in Canvas. That consists of two things: a text box, which you can edit, which can contain the text of your syllabus and graphics and things like that. And then a course summary, which is basically just a list of all the assessments, all the activities within the course, listed in order by due date. And I'm not overly enamored of this tool, but this is something you certainly can use if you wish. If you want to put your actual course syllabus in here, though, it gets a little tricky. You can edit this area at the top of the syllabus, and you could paste your syllabus into this rich content editor from, say, a Word document, but you're likely to lose a lot of the formatting when you do that, so it may look a little strange. You can, in fact, link a file into it that contains your syllabus. And you can, let's see if I can remember how to do this. You can highlight that link and click on the link to URL tool, and you can select auto open the inline preview for this link, and then update the link and update the syllabus tool. And now, when the student opens this, your syllabus can actually appear here. And then down below it, you get this course summary. I don't know of a way to prevent this course summary from appearing. And this is why I don't like this tool, because I don't want my students to have access to links to the assessments in the course outside of the modules. I want them to be forced to work their way through the modules to get to the links to the assessments, so that they've had to at least scroll past all the content that I put in there that they should be looking at before they try those assessments. And if you just throw that schedule out there in the course syllabus, in the syllabus tool, some of them are going to be tempted to just start here and start working their way down and hope they get lucky. I know you'd be tempted to say no one would be that silly, but I assure you that there are people who would try that. So I just don't like this tool, and I think this is an overly complex way of displaying your syllabus when you can just go to the module and put a file link into your syllabus that you already have typed up in Word somewhere on your computer. So that's the reason I don't spend a lot of time talking about this tool in the basic presentation. But it's there, and you're certainly welcome to use it. It's used, for instance, in the online faculty certification program course, which I did not create or didn't have much input on. So that's just not my preference, but it's certainly something you can use, and it is there for you. Can you rearrange columns in the gradebook? Oh, you betcha. You'll love this. If we go to the gradebook in this practice course here, if you want to change the order of the columns display in the gradebook, all you have to do is click on the column header and drag them back and forth. That alone caused me to fall in love with Canvas. So that's a big easy. Yeah, Arnett, I don't like that syllabus tool either. I could use links to art supply stores. Yeah, you can put links to anything. Why would you need to publish both the files and the module? Because publish, remember, in Canvas just means make it visible to students. If you are creating your modules, if you don't publish everything, the students will not be able to see it. And indeed, you may not want them to. You may be working on something and not want them to see it yet, and you can just unpublish it. Oops. Click there, unpublish, update. So it's a hard on-off switch to publishing is that lets you determine whether students can see something or not. And if you don't, let's say you find an error in a document, in a Canvas page, and you want to fix it before anybody else sees it, you can unpublish that page for a bit, correct it, and then publish it again, and you can control when students can see it. So it's a very evident tool that allows you to tell if students can see something in the course. We used to have a lot of trouble in Blackboard with students not being able to see things that faculty thought they could see, because in Blackboard it was a lot harder to tell whether something was visible to students or not. You pretty much had to go in as you're going to student view and look to see if you had all your visibility settings correct or not in Blackboard, because there were very subtle ways of controlling visibility in Blackboard. In Canvas, it's much more overt, much more obvious. They don't want you to be surprised by the fact that students can't see something. But it always is still a good idea to go into your Canvas course as your test student in student view from the home button and click student view to ensure that your course looks to your students the way you think it does. Do we need to see how to copy information from old semester to new semester? Sure. Let's say that this shell I've been working in, this shell that, whoops, been so long since I've been there, it's off of my history now. There we go, that's the one I want. All right, let's say this shell, which is still pretty nearly empty, it's just got a little bit of stuff that we put in it during the course of this session. Let's say I'd like to, that this is my new shell, my live shell for the new semester, and I want to copy the content from a previous course into this one. I do that by starting in the target course, the empty course, the new course, the one that I want to copy into. So I go to the settings link in the course menu and I select import course content. And we've seen this before. And since the shell, since last semester's shell presumably is on our Canvas system, and you're enrolled in it as the instructor, you can select for content type, copy a Canvas course. This allows you to copy content from one Canvas course to another on our Canvas system. Assuming you're the instructor or a teacher in both courses. You can't copy another instructor's course this way, only yours. I could feel that question coming. Then you search for the source course, the course where the content is right now, last semester's course, or your development shell, more likely. And so we just type in the first few, start typing the name of the course. Let's see, intro, I'm going to have to type a little more to screencasting. And you got to spell it right or it ignores you. Here we go. And here's a good source for this one. I select the course that currently has the content in it. And usually at this stage, I will take all the content. Though I can select specific content to copy. I could copy just one module or 2 or 3 quizzes or an assignment and a quiz and a discussion forum or whatever. I could copy just selected portions from the source course, but usually in this circumstance, I'm going to copy everything. So I select all content and I click import, the big blue import button. I don't generally try to have it automatically adjust dates. That's often a recipe for disaster. All right, so it's running. And in a minute, it's going to tell me it's done. This may take quite a bit longer with larger courses. And you don't have to sit here and watch that blue bar run across the screen. You can go and do something else in Canvas or something else entirely on your computer and come back to this course later, and the copy will have been running while you were gone, and it will probably have finished. Sometimes you do see some problems with the copy, issues. You can click on that link, and it says missing links found in imported content, announcement. Missing links found in a wiki page. Well, the reason these, in this particular case, that these issues are found is that this course originally came over from Blackboard. And there were things you could do in Blackboard that you can't do in Canvas, and vice versa. But there were certain things that did not transfer properly. And they were usually very minor and unimportant things, and that's the case here. But that's why this one, often you'll have no issues. Almost always, if you do have issues, they will be minor or totally unimportant. So the copy is completed. Now, if I go to the modules page in this course, or the home page. Okay, it's reset because the other course, the source course, had the modules tool selected as the entry point. That's overridden that change that we made in this course shell to create a welcome page or an opening page. You'd have to redo that again. But here's all the content. Here were those two modules recreated. And then here's the modules from the other course. So with the exception of the course entry point, a course copy in Canvas does not overwrite the content in the destination shell. It just adds to it. So you can always run a course copy without worrying about wiping out something you've created in the destination shell. Because that opening page that we created is still here in the Pages tool. It's just not the entry point anymore. And you can just go and reset that. And get it back. So that's how you copy your content from one shell to another. Copy all the content from one shell to another. If you forget about that, you can just go to the Open On Demand site, whose access URL I've already given you in the chat tool, and you can just type Canvas copy in the search box, or search for it in any other way. Or just type Canvas and sort through all the tutorials, but there are about 100 Canvas tutorials in there, so you don't want to just have to search through all of them. Here we go. Here you have the directions for copying content from one Canvas course shell to another, which was what I just showed you. That shows you copying everything. Or this will tell you how to copy selected items from one Canvas course to another. And this tutorial will show you how to copy Canvas courses between Canvas systems. Let's say you taught a class at Grossmont last semester, and you want to bring that Canvas shell over into our system. You're going to teach the same course at, say, City College, and you want to bring that shell into our Canvas system and use it without having to recreate it. I mean, why should you have to recreate it if you've done that once? So you can copy that content from Grossmont's system into ours and reuse it. And this tutorial will show you how to do that. So this covers the three likely scenarios of copying content from one Canvas shell to another. And it's basically identical to what you saw that I just showed you. At least this one is. That's the beauty of what's called screencasting. I can record myself. In fact, I was recording myself, showing you how to do that course copy just a minute ago in between two Canvas shells. You were able to see what I did on the screen and watch the screens as they changed and hear me describe it. That's called screencasting, and it's a tremendously powerful instructional tool. You can do screencasting with Zoom. You can do it with Camtasia, with Snagit, with Screencast-O-Matic. There are many screencasting tools. Those are probably the four most common. And you can create this kind of content that you see in these tutorials for your own students. And the process is exceptionally easy to do. You don't need to know much, if anything, about video production or multimedia standards or anything like that. The process is so simple that anybody can do it with about 10, 20 minutes of training. And we do offer a screencasting course in this same format, this same series, regularly, so that people can learn to do this. And we have recordings of those courses in the workshop archives on this site. There is a good deal of useful information on this site. And let's see, where's the last screencasting course we did? Introduction to Screencasting, April 22nd. That's a roughly 2-hour session showing you how to do screencasting with different tools, including Zoom, Screencast-O-Matic, and Snagit. Okay. I was the redhead. Oh, I'm not gonna. We're gonna mention that. Can I use the discussion post for critique for student artwork? If I wanted a survey, can I use the quiz? Yes, you can certainly use a discussion topic to allow students to view each other's artwork and comment thereupon. A discussion forum is an ideal tool for that sort of thing because the students can attach their artwork as a file to a discussion post. So yeah, that's something that's quite commonly done. That's one question. And let me see if this, okay. And if I wanted a survey, could I use a quiz? Well, you could, but there's actually a survey object, a survey assessment in Canvas. If you go to your into your Canvas course and go to quizzes, or just go to your module and add a quiz, new quiz, I'll call it course survey. And let's put that in tests and add item. If you now go to edit this course survey item, click edit. One of the first things you're asked when you create a quote quiz unquote is whether you really want it to be a quiz or a survey. I have no idea what a graded survey is. It's a mystery to me. Normally surveys are not graded, they're just information collection tools. So instead of telling Canvas this is going to be a graded quiz, you tell it it's going to be an ungraded survey. One thing, I guess the one reason you might come to think of it, you might have a graded survey is you may want to give students a grade for completing it. Just doing it. Satisfactory, unsatisfactory, or a checkoff. I guess that's why you'd use a graded survey, but usually they're ungraded. Now you have an appropriate variety of settings you can do, and you can put questions in to the survey just as you would into a quiz. Indeed, it's a form of quiz, but it's a quiz that's not going to contribute to your course grade in most cases. And you just use it for information collection, and you'll be able to see the survey responses in the gradebook. So I hope that helped with that question. And I'm at the bottom of the chat tool. What do you know? Does anybody else have another question out there?
I had another one, but it had to do with getting in and out of exams, and you know.
Dave, how are you going to connect it with module? Dave, how can you connect it to module?
Okay, Arnett, yeah, I'm still working. That's okay. I'm still working on that about the quiz. Quiz activity log.
Okay.
So I'm still doing research on that, and I will have something for you on that. But then we had another question about how do we link a quiz or a survey into a module, I think was the question. And let's say I have.
Yeah.
I'm going to save this with no questions in it because we don't care about that. And if I started to create the survey, let me cut down that background noise. There we go. If I thought it did, okay. If I go to the modules, since I started creating this survey in the module, it's automatically linked into the module where I created it. But if I didn't do it that way, if instead I went to the quizzes tool and I added a quiz here, and I, let's say I made this an ungraded survey, and I call this survey 2. Okay, again, I'm not going to add any questions to it. I just want an object to work with. And save that. Now that is not linked into any module because I created it from within the quizzes tool rather than within the modules tool. So if I want to link that into a module, I just go to the module where I want it to appear, click the plus sign for the module, and select quiz, since at this level, Canvas doesn't distinguish between quizzes and surveys. So you have to select quiz, and then you get a list of all the currently existing quizzes and surveys in the course, in the quizzes tool, and there's that survey 2 I just made. So I just click on that and click add item, and that puts the link in to the module for that survey. So you can do this by a 1-step or a 2-step process. It just depends on where you start the process of creating the quiz or the survey. If you start it in the module, then the link is created automatically in the module. If you start the process in the quizzes tool, then you have to go back and in a separate activity or a separate operation, link the survey into the module. But you end up in the same place either way, and it's debatable which one is simpler or quicker. Did that answer that question? I'll have to hope so. Okay. All right, let's see. It looks like Kathy's still there. Kathy, did you have anything else?
Oh, there you are.
Now I hear you.
Let me just hang on just a sec. There we go. Okay.
Yes.
I'm good. I'm putting you on, I hate to tell you this, in the background because every time I listen, I learn something new. I do.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
And that question I asked at the beginning, I didn't mean to ask something that was totally off the topic, but I'm working on that certification course, and it was so frustrating this morning when I did a text. I'm in section 3, module, I think.
And Will Olmsted's advice was really good. If you're going to be typing something, a lot of something, and putting it into a discussion post or into any text box in Canvas,
do it first and then
you're better off typing it offline and then copying and pasting it into the text box on Canvas, because that sort of thing can happen.
Because afterwards, instead of thinking of that, I cussed and swore and decided I wasn't going to do the certificate. And then I did it again. But I still hadn't figured out that.
Oh, I've been there. And what you may have run afoul of, since it probably took, because you were having to compose this as you went along, probably took quite a while for that to, for you to type that in, because you were thinking of what you were saying at the same time. And in order to preserve performance, web servers like Canvas, when they provide you with an entry box, a text entry box, while you're typing in that box, all of that activity is actually staying on your local computer. It's not going to Canvas across the internet. And Canvas doesn't know that you're still there typing in that box. It will give you a certain amount of time to complete it, assuming that you are working. But it won't give you an indefinite amount of time, because if it did, it would end up with all these text entry boxes open, which would degrade system performance. So at some point, Canvas will lose patience and just cut the connection.
And I bet you that's what happened, because
And you can't tell. And usually you can't tell that happens. So you're still happily typing away, and you get to the bottom and there's no button that says post reply.
Ah.
Because Canvas has ghosted you. And at that point, if you close that window without copying and pasting everything into Word or something, you lose it. And then you get extremely upset and probably use words that were either not found in the Bible or were not used in a positive manner in the Bible.
Joe McGerald called me right when that happened, and poor Joe got an earful.
And I guarantee you that's happened to Joe, because he was doing this stuff for years before I got in. So I imagine he commiserated with you, but yeah, that has certainly happened to me too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've learned my lesson, and I'll do it on Word first, and then I'll bring it in. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to type a long thing,
well, most of the stuff is Magnus.
Yeah. But that's something to consider telling your students as well. Because this will happen to them if they're like typing the answer to an essay question in a test.
Right. Oh.
If they take too long, they may get chopped off the ankles the same way. Or if they're creating a discussion post or entering the submission for an assignment into it by text entry, that can happen to them too.
Oh,
and
dear.
They get really upset. And sometimes something like that's enough to drive a student right out of the course.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Because
if they're already kind of at a tipping point, something like that can just drive them right out. So it's worth giving that Will's advice to your students as well. If you're going to type something long, type it offline and then paste it in. They can't really do that so much with an essay question on a test, because they only have a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But they're doing, if they're entering an assignment or discussion post that's going to run to several paragraphs, I would type it in Word or some other text editor first, then I'd copy and paste it into Canvas. And I wouldn't even start the submission process until I had it mostly typed.
Right. Okay, it means I got you. One more question. I know.
Sure.
I can't believe the time you put into this. In terms of Zoom, I know you can't give points for participation or anything like that. You can't require it. At least that's what I've been told. But how about this? Suppose I said to students, well, if you'd like to get on Zoom when I'm presenting the material, then you can ask questions, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then when I post Zoom, you'll be on there, but you'll be asking questions other students would have wanted to ask anyway. So it would be a helpful sort of thing. So it would just be kind of an open offer to have a /lecture office hour going on at the same time.
Right.
So
which is what we're doing right now.
So that would be totally okay, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because you're not going to show this to anybody who's not in the course anyway.
No,
And you do want to let the student know that it is being recorded and that you will post the recording for everybody. But with that proviso, absolutely, that's fine, because you're not violating FERPA. The students see each other in the classroom; they know who they are.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Let me share something with you that happened in class yesterday. One of my students in the class I really enjoy. I mean, there is a bunch of students in there who are amazing. She said, "Ken, question for you." And I said, "Yeah." And I knew this question was going to come up. Do you think they'll have totally online classes in the fall? And I said, I have been told that everyone is teaching online. And she said, oh, thank you for the honest answer. And I said, but you never know what could change, but this is what I've been told. And so there were probably, this was a little bit at the end of class, there were probably 12 students left. And I heard moans all over the place. I mean, people were moaning that they were all going to be online. And I got one of the best compliments of my entire career, which was, Karen, you're a rock. I mean, we need to come here so that we feel some stability. So I think having them totally online without giving us the option of actually having a Tuesday, Thursday class that would be a Zoom/Canvas course is a massive error. I think we're going to lose students. I know there are two.
I am sure that you're correct that we will lose enrollments.
Yeah.
But if we let them come to campus, we're very likely to lose students in another way.
No, but what I mean is this. No, I don't think they should come to campus. I would like a couple of classes to say, class will meet on Zoom Tuesday and Thursday from this time to this time. Then it will also be on Canvas. So
and absolutely you can do that. You just can't require it. So it would be incumbent upon you to record the session and post it to Canvas so they can watch it at their own convenience, but you can absolutely require that they watch it, and you can provide them with assessments that will evaluate whether they watch it.
Oh, you can require them to watch it then as a homework assignment.
Sure. That would be a gross violation of academic freedom if they tried to tell you you couldn't do that. The union would be all over them like, I better not use any analogies, but or any similes there. But no, you have the right to decide how you're going to evaluate your courses. What stops you from requiring them to be online at a certain time is that these courses will probably be coded in PeopleSoft as fully online.
Right.
And that precludes you specifying activities at particular times.
And there's no way that PeopleSoft could be changed.
Well, that's a policy decision. That decision will be made in the Chancellor's cabinet. I don't. They could change that. The cabinet could change that, and rather than designating the courses as fully online, they could designate them as fully online with required virtual class meetings.
Right.
But whether they will choose to do that or not, I doubt.
Well, I got told no.
Well, I mean, if the course is coded as fully online, that's right.
That's right.
But that could be changed at the cabinet level, but I don't know that they will. Yeah. And then they would have to, that information would have to percolate down to you. But there's nothing stopping you from continuing to lecture. And the students who want to be there with you in real time get that benefit.
Yeah. They can be there, be able to get their questions answered, and then the others can be. So, I mean, I'm not typing out lectures. How boring is that? I mean, I need to be there in person and not just voice. Either.
I'm with you on that one, sister.
You know what I discovered from voice only on that certification program? Michelle, when she did that presentation. Oh my God, having voice only makes people jump to generalizations about an individual that maybe they shouldn't. For example, I felt talked down to in that video, and I'm sure that wasn't her intention at all.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
At all. But if you can't see a face, if all you're seeing is, I mean, that's what I've always had against PowerPoint, was people just,
slide, next slide, yeah.
So
death by PowerPoint. Yeah, 70, it's axiomatic that 70% of communication is non-verbal. And if you don't have your webcam on, if you're not doing this in Zoom,
Right.
you lose 70% of what you're trying to convey.
Yeah. They go to sleep. I mean, I can't imagine anything interesting enough to say to keep them awake. So, okay, well, great. I won't hold you any longer. You gave me great ideas. So now I feel better about it.
Good.
I feel a lot better about it. So.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to leave, and thank you so much. Good
Okay.
Enjoyed
I'm
meeting you,
so
Ernie.
you can-
Thank you.
Remember, you
Thank
can get
you,
in
Dave.
touch with me anytime you need to.
Okay, thank you.
Y'all take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.